Okay, hi. This is Kenfrog Draws, part 8. It's been a while since my last video, but I hope you're all well. Today, instead of using the paper I usually use, I'm going to be using these sneakers to draw something. I bought these from GU, which is basically a, maybe you've heard of Uniqlo, but it's a cheaper like imprint of Uniqlo. So this pair of sneakers was just 990 yen. So it's about 1,000 yen for this pair of sneakers. I'm gonna make it something new. So I have a pair of blue ones. I have a pair of orange ones. I think today I want to do a pair of green sneakers. So before I would use black as the base for the drawing itself, but that turns out to be quite harsh. I don't like it that much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be maybe using another color, maybe a brown or something a little less harsh. Okay. So before I start, I'm just gonna pick out some of the colors I think look good together, so that I have them on easy access. You can just pick them up at any time. So I've been keeping busy lately. I've recently started therapy, actually. Maybe if you've seen some of my other videos, you've heard me talk about my experiences with gaslighting, abuse, things like that. And I guess in Japan, where I'm from, lots of people have issues with mental health, but we don't really discuss it that much. We don't, going to get help from a psychiatrist, for example, isn't something people would talk about so casually. It's kind of, there are stigmas about mental health here in Japan, let me just say that. I just want to move, oh, I can't do it. I can't move this video up closer. Can't zoom in. Can I zoom in like this? Nope, does not work. Okay, well, let's just try like this then. Not the best pen for this, is it? Use red as a base then. Or maybe I'm gonna do a red pair of shoes. Don't know. These are canvas shoes, so you need a marker that does not bleed. It's very important. I always do after I draw an item and make a point of outlining it. That way it kind of stands out from the rest of the shoe. There we go. And one of the things about my art is that I don't like to draw isolated flowers. I mean, I do like draw isolated flowers, but I typically don't. I like everything to be kind of mashed up together in a tangle of botanicals is what I like to do. So I mentioned I started therapy. I've been to therapy once before here in Japan. It was actually a positive experience. Not really therapy. It was more just to see a counselor about mental health issues, and it was a good experience. But for personal reasons, I decided that personal reasons. Why am I saying personal reasons as if I'm not gonna tell you the reason? Basically, sometimes with talking about my feelings, I feel more used to talking about them in English. For one thing, I feel more expressive in English in some things because I'm more used to talking about certain things in English. And by the same token, with some things I feel not more comfortable talking about them in Japanese because I can talk about the same things in English, but I feel like Japanese is more conducive to expressing those things. But when it comes to my emotions and things I struggle with or difficulties I face, or when it comes to artistic expression in language, I feel much more comfortable with English at times. So also because I found a platform that was quite affordable online called BetterHelp for virtual remote counseling, I chose to go with that option. Okay, see, this is quite fast. I don't want to run out of ink. That's going great. I have a very, very, very kind counselor who listens to me, asks me questions to help me to examine myself. Very respectful, doesn't push me for talking about things that I find too triggering or that. After my first session with her, it was just a 30-minute long session, I burst into tears. I think I didn't realize how much I had been holding in. I really should have done this long ago. And, you know, mental health is really something that we all need to be aware of. We need to, because we all have mental health, not mental health issues per se, but just like we need to take care of our bodies, we also need to take care of our minds and our emotions. And that's why, you know, you would think someone was irresponsible perhaps if they hadn't gone for any kind of health checkup for their body for years on end. But we don't think twice about when people don't do anything to take care of their mental health, you know? And it's not as exact of a science, I feel, psychology, as, you know, other fields. But if people are able to do so, I think that it's good. So even if you're not going to mental health professionals necessarily, that people are aware and conscious that mental health is important and that they take steps to do things to keep themselves healthy. Whereas that, if that's by, you know, limiting contact with things that don't make you happy or that stress you out, or by going out into nature more, just being aware of the effects of things, of external factors on your mental health. That in itself is a huge start. Okay, see? Look at that. Oh, I love this song. This is Claire de Lune. From the Sweet Bergamosk. Okay, so the outline's almost done. Just have to, every once in a while, just press down. Outline's almost done. remember to use when you're drawing on sneakers. Remember to use waterproof pens, permanent markers. I like Posca because they are very fast, as in not quick, but fast as in the color sticks. Okay, so, and it also doesn't bleed. The one disadvantage of Posca is that the colors are quite limited, and I'm not very good at blending them yet, so you kind of have this one limited color palette with Poscas. But because the colors are really quite vibrant and they're fast, I like to use them because for outlines at least. And then what goes on in the inside, I'm going to be using these cheap permanent markers. I bought just a set of, I forget, 24 or 36 or whatever, off of this Chinese website called Wish. Have you ever gotten those Wish advertisements? Oh god, they're so funny. They'll really advertise really weird things to you. Like I get advertisements for things like diapers, for ew, they have weird stuff too, like, I don't know, does YouTube have age restrictions on these videos? What am I allowed to talk about here? Anyway, just because we're listening to beautiful classical music, maybe I'm not gonna touch on the things I get ads for. Good. It's just been 12 minutes so far, and I've gotten pretty far with this shoe so far. Happy about that. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about language. This friend, actually, I hadn't seen him in about, he was a childhood friend when I was growing up in Kyushu, and I saw him briefly in 2013 at this camp we both went to, but we were friends as kids when we were about maybe in elementary school first year, or maybe even, yeah, so I was about 5 or 6 or so. So it's been 25 years since the last time I've actually properly seen him, other than that one camp we went to, where we don't think we really reconnected that much there. But, you know, he is in Tokyo for a bit, we reconnected, we talked about lots of things, and we talked about language. He is, his mother and father are both American. However, he's born and raised in Japan, so he speaks Japanese, and he does identify as being from here. And we were talking about how your persona changes depending on what language you're speaking, really, and what a language affords you to talk about, or the expressions it allows you to express. the things it allows you to convey based on its palette will accordingly change your own disposition. And the reason I'm talking about this now is because I'm using these markers now, and I have an interesting illustration. I don't know when I came upon this particular metaphor, simile? What do you call like a tatoe, like an example? I guess it's not a simile. I think it's let's just call it an example. I'll leave the semantics of it out of the way for now. But I feel that languages are very similar to color pencils. For instance, let's say that Crayola makes a box of 12, let's say 24. Box of 24 colored markers, for instance. All right. And let's say that Mitsubishi also makes a box of 24 markers. Those markers are going to be quite different to each other. Of course, both boxes will have the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the greens, the blues, the blacks. It'll have, you know, it'll have all the colors. But your red might be slightly off shade, like a different, closer to an orange in one of the boxes. Or you might not have a silver pen in one of the boxes. It might be replaced by 2 different shades of gold, for example. Your white might be a bit of a more cream or off-white. The pink might not be as vibrant in one. There might be colors that are similar but not identical. Colors that are indeed identical and colors that are indeed completely different. And I just feel that that's what language is like. So even if 2 people try to convey the same thing in the way that 2 artists, or maybe 1 artist might try to compose 2 separate pictures based on the same, based on 2 separate sets of pencils, the end result is going to be quite different, just depending on what you're afforded by those colors. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, end of color pencil rant. Anyway. As you see, the ink is starting to run a bit dry for the Posca, whereas it'd been quite, you know, cookie, quite visible here. You can see here it's starting to get a little bit lighter. Okay, so just give me a minute. The thing about this Posca, you can just, and then the paint comes out. Now canvas is a bit coarse, so you're going to be damaging the tips if you use them without the ink. The ink is kind of a, I guess it acts as kind of a lubricant, so it doesn't damage the tip of the pen too much this way. So yeah, see, that really comes out quite nicely now. I just have to press it down a couple times to get that, get the ink flowing. Now, usually I'll put in some animals, like either a frog or an owl or a cat or something in these. But I think I'm going to keep this pair of shoes relatively simple, just this red base color. And after this red base color, I have to think about what kind of complementary colors I want with the red. So I'll try to think about that as well. I am thinking about starting to, once I get better at this, starting to sell these shoes. Perhaps not GU ones, because these are, I mean, I've been using my pair for a couple months now, and they're still fine. The colors are good, but it's more that the shoes themselves are very cheap, so they do fall apart, kind of. So rather than use these ones, I mean, they're still wearable, but they're just a bit worn. I don't think I could wear a pair of these for a full year, you know. So I might explore some other shoes to use. Maybe Muji has some good ones, or maybe I'll get some sneakers from Nike. Don't know if you've heard of them, but it is a pretty melody. I've never heard it before. Now you notice I'll put a lot of little circles in the drawing, and the reason I do that is that I like to have sometimes some vibrant colors popping out, and these circles are like little capsules that contain those little colors. Now each of these videos is only 30 minutes each, so I'm going to try to finish up the drawing on the shoes within the next 10 minutes. And then in my next video, I'll color this, so you can see how I go about my coloring process. I've done some speed videos in the past for these sneakers, and I've uploaded them on my Instagram. But the first time I'm doing an actual real-time demonstration of how I do these shoes. If you have any ideas for good color combinations or good motifs to use, just leave them in the comments. I'll take a look. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll make that my next pair of shoes. Okay, so why am I playing classical music? You've probably guessed why. I'm actually, I don't dislike classical music. I actually quite like the melodies, especially, yeah, there are a lot of classical melodies I enjoy. I don't like orchestras. It's a bit overwhelming with all those different instruments going on at once. I like more simple trios, quartets, or just a nice piano solo. When it comes to an opera, I'll just like the aria or the kind of the really nice melody part, but I can't listen to a lot of it at once. It's a bit overwhelming, you know? Something that has like a solo, a cello solo, or something on the simple side. Or just a few instruments that complement each other. Too many things going on at once. I know my art, it looks like just a jumble of things. So that might be a bit funny to hear me say, because my art isn't particularly simple. I like to limit my use of colors to just maybe maximum 5. But I can also do lots of colors. It's just not my favorite thing to do. It's a bit overwhelming.あともうちょいかな。There. Alright, so in my next video I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to put the color on these, guys. Thank you for watching. And in my next video number 9 for Kenfrog Draws, I'll be showing you how to color these. I just said that. Alright, I'm gonna turn this off now.